The iwi here today, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Mr Speaker.
I call the Honourable Minister Craig Foss.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Tēnā koutou to so many familiar faces from people from Hawke's Bay who have been there a lot longer than I ever have been there. And thank you so much for your cooperation, your generosity and your patience. Mr Speaker, I just want to talk about just something a little bit different. Maybe it's part of my journey, because we've heard from other speakers, and when we signed the deed at Tangitu Marae not too long ago, there was a moment of change for me. And that was when, and that shook my faith a bit in our system, because up until that time, I'd always looked at the progress we're making with treaty settlements around the country, but I always rested upon the legal framework, trying to address things that had not been right many years ago, and resting upon that framework as a legislative, but as a fair play Kiwi who does believe in good faith and fair dealing as prescribed in the treaty. But it's when the most wonderful person, Bevan Taylor, spoke, and he told the story about, and excuse me if I don't get it quite accurate, how his grandfather just had used legal process to seek redress, had gone all the way to the Privy Council, borrowed large amounts of money, still being paid off or only recently been paid off, huge sums in today's terms. And it was at that moment when I learnt how the Privy Council, the place of last resort to all of us who rely on the legislative, the fair and transparent legal process, had let you down. And for various reasons which are beyond my limited legal brain, had let you down, had actually let all of us down to this day, to we're trying to seek to the bill we have in the House today. But at that moment, I started to question my faith in how the process and procedures and the system that we have to allow all New Zealanders redress before the law, whoever they are, was shaken when I learnt that story. Absolutely shaken. And I thank and acknowledge yourselves, particularly Mr Taylor, in his calm and gentle way of how he described more of that to me later during the day. But I just, it was a fundamental moment for me, a learning, a revelation that the system that this place is set up to be part of, to protect, let yourselves down, let New Zealand down. And that made me start to question so much else of what is discussed and talked about in and around all treaty settlements and around all issues about our identity as a country, as the founding people of our country. And I have been doing that for quite some time. So I'm thankful that, of course, we've got to this point. It's a tragedy that we had to even get to this point, but we have. With all the hurt, with all the things that happened long ago, with the implications for whānau, for family, for bloodlines, for people, for pride, for mana, that have been so attacked and damaged over many years, but an absolute credit and strength, and I admire and bow to yourselves because you've kept the faith. And you have, at the end, I can be thankful, but it's taken far too long, that the process of legal process, parliamentary process, has finally worked in your favour in at least a limited way. So again, I just acknowledge your standing. I'm proud to be part of Hawke's Bay, but I'm just proud to have been there on the day of the signing of the deed, and I'm thankful for my understanding, for my family and our community's understanding of learning about what actually happened, how you've come to this place, and I do thank you for my glimpsing the system failed so long ago, and yes, it may be working a little bit better now, but on that moment, I'll say again, my faith in the judicial system was shaken when I learnt that story, regardless of the context of 100 or so years ago. So I look forward to working with you to make sure that that system we all have faith in, good faith and fair dealing, serves us much better as a people going from today onwards than it has, obviously, in the past. Kia ora.
Mr. Speaker.
I call the Honourable Nanaia Mahuta. Tēnā koe, Ms. Mahuta.